I'm announcing my retirement because I got my tickets. Sorry.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
These are props. These aren't even really. Lexi, you got to tell me props. They're not. After the recording of this show, don't tell anybody we record this show in the early afternoon or the late afternoon. What time is it? It's 4 o'clock. You're seeing it at 7:30 or midnight, but all right. Just get out of my way. Don't be exchanging tickets for instant tickets and all that. I got stuff to do tonight, so get out of my way toward my $1.5 billion victory. You can't even comprehend that kind of money. Even the net of the lump sum. There's no way to. There are countries on this planet that don't even come to the gross national product number that we are. I'm not a liberal, but I got to tell you something. Isn't there something creepy about winning that much money? I don't know. We'll find out for the newest mayor in Fall River, who will probably have to defend his age for the next, 2 terms. Unless he pulls off some incredible turnaround in the city of Fall River, and then no one's going to talk to him about his age ever. You will meet him coming up momentarily. Nice to have you in to my state of mind. Stop banging the table, Dan, because I'm told the sound just echoes all over the studio. Oh, this was not good for Rhode Island today. Very good for the Commonwealth. The headlines from the Boston Globe, they broke the story, and then GE had to come in behind it and say, yeah, that's the truth. It is tax break city and a whole bunch of other incentives that have drawn the headquarters from Fairfield, Connecticut, where Governor Malloy has really set up a bad environment. You create yourself a taxable environment, you find this kind of move made. And as GE moves to Boston, they say into a fertile ground of resources when it comes to time, talent, treasure, all of that. There are 55 colleges and universities in the city of Boston alone, or in the region, which is impressive, no doubt. Folks like Gina Raimondo say, oh, nuts. But, the governor was trying to suggest that we were in the hunt in Rhode Island. Now, a lot of people in Massachusetts watch this show, so don't be offended, but, we can be a little Rhode Island-centric around here. The governor was suggesting that she was in the hunt. The truth of the matter is, according to the Globe story and other sources that I've read today, we weren't even close. It was a decision between New York and Boston, which has kind of defined itself now as the innovation center, has won that ballgame. So, duly noted. We'll keep plugging along. Maybe we can put some tolls up. That will help our economic position. To Switzerland, though, that's where we'll find the answers, right? Because Governor Raimondo is headed there. Headline says, yes, she's been invited as part of a swath of Americans headed by Joe Biden to go to Switzerland and study economic matters. She's all excited about it. She tweets about it. Very excited to go. No, that would be a GE headline. See if we can find the tweet from Governor Raimondo. Good save, Steve. Creating jobs, turning around the economy, top of mind for me. Yeah, right. You know what? I tend to, look, you pick up an idea out in Switzerland, you make a contact, maybe there's a mini GE that you can grab out there. But the truth of the matter is the governor is establishing herself with the Democratic establishment, to use the word twice in 2 different ways. She has an idea that she's going to be in Washington, and there is nothing more stimulating to this governor than being in a place where she can rub shoulders and elbows with the people who are in Washington, and that's what they're going to do while they're in Switzerland. This is not as much about economic development for the state of Rhode Island, although she may pick up a tidbit or two. It's about the platform that she sees herself on. And everything that she's doing in terms of governance is about impressing those outside of Rhode Island. And it's working. There are a lot of people outside Rhode Island who are very impressed with her. Right now, there are a lot of people inside Rhode Island wondering if she can actually figure out how much money we actually gain from tolls at the Pawtucket River Bridge over a 5-year span. Something I've talked about for 5 nights here, and I can't do it again. Let's move on. The Obama mea culpa. Last night, the president, I don't know. He had Trump on the brain, and everyone's got Trump on the brain, it seems. Headlines regarding the State of the Union speech. Even the energy coming into the room with the handshakes and the like felt a little less. And then, of course, Nikki Haley got involved in this. We'll talk about it in a second. Here was the president kind of, taking it on the chin himself.
It's one of the few regrets of my presidency that the rancor and suspicion between the parties has gotten worse instead of better. I have no doubt a president with the gifts of Lincoln or Roosevelt might have better bridged the divide. And I guarantee I'll keep trying to be better so long as I hold this office. But my fellow Americans, this cannot be my task or any president's alone.
You know, it's interesting. People will say when you intervene into somebody's disaster that as soon as they recognize the disaster, they're able to help themselves with the disaster, addiction, that kind of thing. In this case, the president finally recognized that he might be at least partly responsible for the breakdown in love in Washington. Not that it's ever been designed for that. So that's a good thing. My guess is it's a little too late. And my suggestion to the president is if he wants to leave any kind of a legacy about curing the dilemma that he sees right now, that perhaps he should stop issuing executive orders, bypassing Congress, and helping to exacerbate the ill will not only between Democrats and Republicans, but between legislative and judicial and executive branches. Just a thought. Meanwhile, the new star, holy cow, was it a contest where everybody kind of fell over each other for Governor Haley? She was the Republican responser, to coin a phrase. She got all sorts of exciting attention, and she tried to call out the angry voices.
Today, we live in a time of threats like few others in recent memory. During anxious times, it can be tempting to follow the siren call of the angriest voices.
That would be you, Mr. Trump. If you watched the State of the Union last night, it was all about Donald Trump. In fact, I was watching it with my wife, who is not political at all. And Deb says to me, she says, you know what? It just feels like Trump is in the room. There was this kind of weirdness last night about the presidency. Don't tell me that if you watched the State of the Union last night that you didn't, at least for a second, whether you want Trump in or not, think, could Donald Trump end up being where President Obama is right now? And I think that's kind of dominating the thinking. Clearly, Nikki Haley is kind of moving to establishment Republican side as if that's a dirty word these days. A lot of Trump people think it certainly is. The press was falling all over herself, the TV press at least, thinking she's the next vice presidential nominee. Well, not for Donald Trump, not after that. And of course, he couldn't stop. He was on the couch tweeting, wherever he was, on his big airplane. I don't know. Yeah. One of the most boring, rambling, non-substantive, new leadership fast. I get it, Donald. I get it. Actually, I don't get it. Actually, last night's show was all about getting it. If you didn't see the professor talking about how the left has propped up Donald Trump to the excellence he is self-perceiving and the data that he has accumulated in the polls, you should go online, and you should go online all the time at foxprovidence.com and watch our previous shows. And finally, because you know I'm nothing but a sports junkie, and for my guest who's a PC grad, getting it done. Get it? Headline last night, PC, Creighton at the buzzer. I did manage to use my DVR and see the end of this thing after the State of the Union address. You know, the mark of a good player is when he makes a mistake to make good for it. Watch this video.
Or overtime. Done. Fall away. It goes through.
Yeah, you know, what we didn't show you there is that he'd coughed up the ball just prior. Creighton scores to tie it, and guess what? He finishes it. That kid is one heck of a player, and it's going to keep PC. He's going to keep PC in the conversation, in the top 15, 20 conversation for the balance of the season, I'm pretty sure. And so, in the meantime, a young man that I have been looking forward to meeting is arrived. We go to the headlines that showcase. In fact, you should go over there and do your thing. There's number one, and here's number two, and they're all about it. I think we've got a new technique to bring to the show. Swing in. What did you call that?
Saturday Night Live.
Your Saturday Night Live move.
Yeah.
I love that.
Sure.
Congratulations,
Thank
man.
you.
It's good
Thanks,
to see
man.
you.
Appreciate it.
Honorable Mayor of Fall River. How does that sound? Are you used to hearing it yet?
Oh yeah, I'm not getting tired of it. That's for sure. But
No, right? Is
but,
it something you pinch yourself a little bit at the ripe young age of 23, now 24?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but we're excited.
Are you tired of hearing about your age already?
No, you know, it's expected. It's something that I knew I was going to face, and I'm probably, like you said, going to face it for a little while. But it's an incredible burden, and I think there are more expectations put on me than probably somebody double or 3 times my age. But we're ready for that challenge, and I'm excited to confront that.
You had an interesting trip here. You're a small business guy. You run an app? Is that what you do?
Yeah. It's called Snow Owl. It's an app for iPhone. Free app.
Does it work?
Yeah, it works.
Is it profitable?
Well, no, not yet.
So good thing you got a job.
Yeah, well, well, the goal of a lot of these technology app companies is to be acquired. Of course, our technology, we have a patented technology, so our goal is, of course, to be acquired. We have, recruited a lot of investment dollars to the company, and we're, nationwide. We have a great algorithm that we created, so that's a lot of fun. That's the fun stuff. Nobody really is knocking down on my door and talking about politics.
PC grad,
Yes,
counselor.
yes, city council.
You had a funky thing. I don't know all the details, and I'm not going to press you hard on it. But you had this story that I took notice of, that where you thought that the then sitting mayor had kind of threatened you, and then the prosecutor ends up taking a look at it, doesn't bring charges, but ends up winning the mayoralty, and then you unseat the prosecutor.
It was.
Was that kind of a double victory for you in some sense?
I guess it was.
Have you thought about it that way?
Some people have brought that to my attention. It was kind of bizarre. It was kind of bizarre. The way the whole thing played out was certainly bizarre.
Too much drama?
Yeah, I don't like drama.
Did it play a role in the election?
I don't think it played a huge role, to be honest, in this particular election.
What did?
Trash fee, big fee.
The
right?
trash fee.
Yes, yeah. So we had an administration that. Well, let me give you a little bit of history, right? So
hold your thought, because
Sure.
I want to hear about this.
Yeah.
This goes to what I've been telling you all a while. It's the stuff about your pocketbook, your checkbook, and what's in your wallet. Stay with us.
really looking to talk about drug abuse here in Fall River as a public health problem.
Boy, it certainly is, and that's a
Yes.
conversation that we should have this evening, and we will. But I want to go backwards for just a second, because you were telling me that you were elected based on a trash fee.
Well, I think it was a number of things. Obviously, our hard work and some of the vision that we provided during our campaign that excited the public for sure. But that fee, and I voted against it on the city council, really I think was important to the election. And if we look back historically, we had a previous mayor, Mayor Flanagan, that implemented a pay-as-you-throw program, didn't change services, right? Didn't even attempt to reduce costs in that department. Costs were rising by 14% year over year. That's incredible. That's an unbelievable increase. Then the new mayor came in, and on top of that, and he campaigned on addressing trash. On top of that, added a $120 per household fee per floor. You know, in Fall River, we have a lot of three-tenement homes. A lot of three-tenement homes. $360. So if you're an elderly woman living in a three-tenement home by yourself, you're paying $360. Come on, it made no sense. There was no creativity. Privatization wasn't talked about. We have municipal trash service collection in Fall River, and we campaigned on changing that and exploring all options and putting them all on the table, and that's what we're doing.
What's the solution?
The solution is going to be a public-private partnership. It's going to be a public-private partnership looking at how we handle trash. It's going to look at how we manage our department. If you have a department that's increasing 14% year over year, there's a problem there, and it's a management problem. It could be some of the contract problems that we've had in that.
So what's the
particular
urgency? I mean, obviously the fees were raised because there was some kind of financial urgency. How are you bridging the gap while you try to figure out the partnership?
So the
and
gap,
the expense.
Well, the gap doesn't exist until I propose my new budget for FY17.
Okay.
So there's nothing I can do this year. I inherited a previous mayor's budget, so we've got to see this through. In the new fiscal year, that's when we're going to be proposing some of our options. So we're collecting bids as we speak.
It is amazing, though, that the acute checkbook issues are always front and center for the electorate.
Absolutely.
You've got to treat the fundamentals, both from a political and from a governmental point of view. And of course, those can be two very different things.
Sure.
Running for office and running the office
Absolutely.
are two different things. But it is amazing to me that the incumbent, pretty sharp guy, DA, long, terrific resume, missed that.
Yeah.
You can't miss those things.
Can't.
You may have all the grandest plans in the world, but if you miss the trash fee, it's going to bite you in the whatever.
That's right.
Good for you for kind of getting that. What is the big picture, though, for Fall River? What is the ultimate signature you want to have on your leadership here?
So this is a very important question and something I'm looking forward to seeing through. And you know, politicians always talk about three big things: public safety, education, and economic development or jobs, right, on the local level. I lean towards the third one, right? I'm talking economic development on a grand scale in Fall River. We've got to be serious because we are a corporation, right? We collect tax revenue. We have different departments that we have to fund. And any company, any Fortune 500 company has to market itself. Fall River has really not marketed itself properly in the last 30 years, or maybe even more than 30 years. So that's going to be important. We've got to be serious about what market we attract. I propose that we're attracting, or should be attracting, the post-grad millennial generation, which I fall into, and then all the way on the other side, the empty nester generation. So people whose kids have probably gone on to college, graduated, and are no longer home. Those two markets are so essential to Fall River's future and our success. In the past, we've marketed exactly what we have. Some of the issues we're facing are around low-income housing, are around subsidized housing in our downtown. We don't have market rate in our downtown currently. So those are some of the things we're really looking at and saying, how do we change these things? And it's going to take 30 more years because some of these contracts are long-term with the federal government in terms of housing, but there are some opportunities in downtown.
Well, you know, I'm impressed by your thinking. You gotta be careful though not to false advertise. You know, changing a brand recognition and marketing a company or a city is only as good as the substantial content and/or product and the legitimacy of it. So you're going to have to, before you start shouting and trying to change the reputation, the identity of Fall River, you got to show some stuff.
Yeah, let me address. So that's a great point. And when you talk about the reputation Fall River's had, I've heard it. I went to Providence College.
Right.
I wasn't far from
Right,
Fall
it's a
River.
little bit of, you know, the armpit of New England,
yeah,
blah, blah,
yeah,
blah.
Exactly.
It's like being a
Crime,
Jersey guy,
drugs.
which I am, you know, which, you know, a lot,
Right.
but there are communities in Jersey, as an example,
Yep.
that were reputed as the armpit, which are
Right.
now happening,
Absolutely,
baby.
absolutely, and that's exactly what Fall River has. Fall River has all the right elements. We've got absolutely the best waterfront of any gateway city in the Commonwealth. I don't care which one you choose. We've got the best. We have 2 deep water ports. We have rail infrastructure for manufacturing and transporting of goods. We're actually very good at attracting Rhode Island businesses. We have Blount Seafood, a Warren-based company in Fall River manufacturing. We have Rhode Island Novelty, based in Fall River now. We have Matuk. We have all these great companies.
And you think you might get the Paw Sox, huh? Huh?
It's possible. You never know. You never know.
I don't know about that one.
Well, we'll see.
Those guys they drive a hard bargain.
Yeah, well, I do too.
Yeah.
I'm a good negotiator.
You are, huh?
Yeah.
You got an app, you must be.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
So do you think that the city has? Well, clearly you wouldn't want to be run for mayor if you didn't think so, but you can change the laugh factor for a community. We've seen communities do
Sure.
it. What used to be a dump is now the place that everybody wants to be.
Of course.
Takes a lot
of time, a lot of work.
vision, a lot of work, and a lot of gutsy calls.
Well, that's what we're doing. We're not afraid. You know, and one of the things that's so cool about being a young mayor is I don't have the long-term ties that other people have. I'm not the average politician that has decades and decades of favors that I owe or anything like that. I mean, I'm in this for the long haul. I'm in this to change Fall River because Fall River has so much opportunity. You know, I think about different communities all the time, and you know, there are communities. You think of Chicago, you think of many major cities. There are bad parts of every city. That doesn't mean every single street has crime and drugs and prostitution. That's not the case. But the reputation needs to be changed by marketing the city properly. People need to know about the Portuguese cuisine that we have. People need to know about the kinds of apartments you can get. I have friends living in downtown Providence paying outrageous sums of money for small apartments when they could be 15, 20 minutes away, living in a nicer place, and still commute to Providence if their job is here in Providence, or stay in Fall River, or commute to Boston. There are a lot of opportunities that are hidden because the city has never marketed itself properly.
Right. I'm impressed. When we come back, we'll talk about some of the realities that all of New England are dealing with. That soundbite, we have to touch on that. Stay with us. With the brand new mayor of Fall River, in the last segment we played that little bit of audio where you were talking about some of the drug issues. Everybody's got it. This is not just Fall River. The heroin thing is out of control.
It is.
Are you finding your neighborhoods to be inundated with this opioid multiplied heroin problem going on out there?
Yeah, this is a problem. You're absolutely right. It's facing every socioeconomic class. It's facing students. It's facing
right. It's not just the
elderly.
typical heroin
yeah,
addict that we used to
this
know.
This is everyone. Pills is another
right.
issue. So, yeah, this is something, and I've been involved in this area for a long time. I'm on the board of directors at Stanley Street Treatment and Resource Center. I've been doing this kind of work. People are always surprised by this, but literally a decade. I started in this area around a group called Teens Against Drug Abuse when I was 13 years old.
So what did you do? You hired a new coordinator.
Yeah, we hired a new coordinator, and basically that coordinator is going to be working out of City Hall. Boston has a similar position in New Bedford, Lawrence, Springfield, and what that allows us to do is cut out the middleman basically, and retain more of the grants that we're receiving. So it's kind of complex. Sometimes people don't really realize, but right off the top, when you bring in a grant into a city and then you subcontract that grant, you're paying out a lot of admin fees. You're paying an admin fee of 15% to the city. You're paying an admin fee, in some cases 16% to the organization before you even deliver the service.
Okay.
So we were cutting all that out, bringing it in. This is somebody that's been doing this for 28 years in our community, and they're already a part-timer with the city.
You're having a press conference regarding the drug issue coming up, what, this
We
week?
had a press conference on Monday.
You just did?
Yeah,
okay.
we had a press conference Monday about this. We announced the position. Last year we had 634 overdose calls. That's nearly double what we had in 2011. So it's an issue, and the city's got to begin to tackle the issue.
Police up with the Narcan and all that kind of thing?
We're still working on that. That's
We gotta
a
get that
contract
done.
negotiation.
Yeah, but
that's ongoing.
Why would that be a contract negotiation?
It's complex.
Well, I know it's complex.
Yep.
But your PD has the position that unless the union has a position, unless you negotiate it, they're not going to carry around Narcan?
There's some complexities there that I can't speak
Wow.
about yet.
Well, guess what? Get your. We'll come back on that conversation alone when you start to get into it, because that's
Definitely.
that can't be right. Let me ask you this: this is a new, hopefully you'll develop a relationship with us and come when you've got some issues and respond when we ask. But tell me, as a new guy, 24 years of age and an upset winner over the former DA who had so much equity in the community, you got some elders in the community kind of pulling you aside and say, "Listen, kid, this is the way it's got to be."
Yeah, sometimes.
You got some of that environment.
Sometimes.
What
yeah,
do you do What do you do to create that space?
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly what we do. I describe that problem like this. Fall River is a fishbowl, and when you don't clean a fishbowl, it gets very murky, and that murkiness doesn't allow you to see what's in the fishbowl. And what my job is as mayor, and I think any mayor needs to do this, is take that fishbowl and throw it into the Taunton River or Providence River, wherever you may be. And when you do that, you begin to see exactly what's in the fishbowl. And when I tell people that, they look at me and they say, "Wow, that's pretty clever." And that's the philosophy I'm going to continue to keep.
You had a long hill to climb
Yes.
to get everybody's consensus, or did the win create it right away?
No, there's a lot of different elements to this job. A lot of behind the scenes, talking to people, negotiating different things, making sure that your statements are very particular, very precise, but at the same time vague. So it's the most interesting job in the world so far.
Did you think you'd win?
Yes, of course. Come on, 100%.
Doesn't matter. You won.
That's right.
All right. Well,
That's right.
It seems that your maturity is way past your years, and
Thank
hopefully that benefits Fall River. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Dan.
Good luck with it.
Thanks a lot.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Phenomenal. Come back on that police Narcan thing. And
We
all
will.
that.
Yeah.
That's. All right. Final word, and we come back. Stay with us, please. I just got to say, I don't blow a lot of smoke when it comes to public officials. That was pretty good. I understand why the people, in addition to a garbage fee controversy, decided to give this young man the mantle in Fall River. We'll have to keep our eyes on that city, because this young man is certainly worth watching. And I can't believe I'm saying young man so much, but it's almost my grandson's age. Right? I don't have a grand. Well, you know what I mean. See you on the radio tomorrow at noon on WKRO. Bye.